various aspects of how Rhode Island Department of Health has been very instrumental in regards to cancer and informing the community aspects of how Rhode Island Department of Health has relative to cancer.
Thank you, Pastor. Hello, everyone. My name is Tanya Gilbert, and I work for the Rhode Island Department of Health with the Tobacco Control Program. And I am here just to come alongside. I was reaching out to the Ministers Alliance to see if I could join them in the community conversations. I am the program manager for a grant that talks about menthol and health disparities, specifically with specific populations, such as the African immigrant community, African Americans, and there's other populations that Big Tobacco targets and has intentionally provided menthol cigarettes and other nicotine products to our communities because they are easier on our lungs. They have that cool, minty, and numbing sensation that masks the flavor and the harshness of tobacco, and so it causes us to become dependent on it more quickly, but it makes it harder for us to quit. And we know that a good number of people that currently use these products do desire to quit, but it's very difficult. And so I come to provide some quit resources. I also come to talk about and educate our community on big tobacco and its tactics, and to give information about menthol and how we can stop them from really targeting us. I mean, it's unbelievable. Young people wouldn't remember this, but those of us that have a few more years on us would remember back when there was the Cool Jazz Festival, and would remember that Cool was a cigarette, and they would be plastered all over the posters, and they'd be giving out cigarettes and for free. And now what we see in our communities, especially our communities of color, is that our tobacco stores and retailers are at a higher density than other neighborhoods that do not have such a high percentage of people of color. And we find that the stores are more densely populated. Again, we are being targeted. We have couponing, we have the free giveaways. We notice that the retailer storefronts are plastered with posters and pricing. They try to discount. There's all sorts of things. And we have various flavors. So from menthol, we now have fruity flavors that are being added, again, to mask this harshness from this ingredient. The other thing I would like to say is that so many times people don't recognize that tobacco is actually a drug. And it's, because it's legal, just as alcohol is a legal drug. But we also know that anything that we do in excess is not good for us. Mm-hmm. And so I just want to kind of let people know that. I also want to let people know, and I want to recognize that a lot of times that when people use substances such as alcohol or tobacco, it is to meet a need. It is to, sometimes people use it to calm them. Sometimes, people use it as stress relievers. There's so many reasons, and there's nothing wrong with that. What we're trying to do is get you information so that you can understand that there's alternative ways for you to reduce your stress, right? There are healthier ways. for you to do that. So we just want to be a resource to you to give us a call, email me at Gilbert. Email is Tanya, Tanya, dot Gilbert, GILBRT dot health. It's really long. The Tobacco Control Program at the Rhode Island Department of Health is here for you to provide you with quick resources. There are free resources out there for you that want to try. And it comes with medication to assist you with the quit. It comes with counseling services. You can text message. So there's many things that we have out there. We just want you to live your best life and be the healthiest version of yourself that you can be.
Can I ask a question?
Oh, absolutely.
Do they have, for the tobacco, you know how they have the stores that are checked, just like they do alcohol? Do they do the same for tobacco?
Yes. So you're absolutely correct. There is enforcement out there. I don't know if you noticed that the governor was signing his budget. And one of the things that was in the budget was for the dual settlement funds was to use some of that funding for enforcement. So what we've done is the Department of Health used to be the enforcer, if you will, on paper. But what we've done is we've moved it over to the Division of Taxation and Regulation. And so in his budget, he has allotted for, I believe it's 2 full-time employees to come and be able to do the enforcement. And enforcement is a compliance check.
Right.
So police officers go out with young people under the age of 21. The youth try to purchase the product. If they don't purchase it, that's great. If they do purchase it, that's a violation to the retailer, and they'll be fined, and the fines grow, and they could be summoned to court for a hearing for that. But yes, we are, not only do we do it in the city, but we also do it statewide.
Okay.
So but now we're going to have additional support now.
Mhm.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. It does.
Yes.
Because I'm thinking of young people picking up tobacco. And now since they have the vaping, and there's a lot of advertising on vaping where they have the different fruit. I know that they're trying to regulate that where they don't supposed to show that on the windows, and then they don't supposed to have it like right in front, like they have candy.
Right.
So
So yes, so now tobacco products are not supposed to be at the height of a child, and they should be out of reach of a child. But our youth are still seeing the advertisements. And, to go back to, we're talking about cancer screening, so we know that smoking can bring about different cancers, lung cancer. So that's how we're kind of coming together and collaborating, because some people, unfortunately, will develop some of these diseases. And we specifically focus on our youth because big tobacco has to replace those that either become sick and pass away or quit. And the best way for them to do that, and they've, out of their own mouths, are targeting our young people so that they will be dependent upon tobacco for a lifetime. And we also, studies are showing that tobacco can be a substance that is a gateway drug. And for those that, vaping is fairly new, and we don't have all the data in yet, but it's not harmless. A number of people think that vaping, if it says it doesn't have any nicotine, typically when it's tested, it does have nicotine. And in a vape, you can have anywhere from 26 cigarettes in one vape
Oh, wow.
cartridge
Wow.
to more. And so, and our youth and some of our adults are going through these vapes in just a matter of days.
Yeah.
The nicotine level in vape devices are not regulated, so you don't know what you're getting. And so that's how you get poisonings of our young people, their bodies are not ready to take in all of that nicotine, and so they can be poisoned. There's just so many things out there we have to look out for. And so we just want you to know that we're all coming together to provide whatever we can to assist you in quitting and being healthier, keeping your family and your homes healthy as well.
Right.
In regards to regulations for vaping specifically, is there an age? Are they being checked for, you have to be 21?
Yes. So in the state of Rhode Island, the age, the legal age to purchase and to use tobacco and alcohol is 21.
Okay.
It used to be that alcohol was 21 and tobacco was 18, but in July of 2021, I think, definitely July 7th, the governor signed off so that the age to purchase and use tobacco is the age of 21. And if you ask why 21, really, studies are showing that a youth's brain that is not fully developed until they're around 25, between 23 to 25. And using substances, especially tobacco and alcohol, affects the development of our youth's brains. And so that's why the age has been pushed back. But, you know, if we can prevent them or delay them from using these products until their brains are fully developed, that's even better for them and their health. Yes.
I know the cigarettes affected people in the household. If somebody didn't smoke, if somebody did smoke in the household, that the other person would get cancer or what, they could get cancer or whatever. Is that the same thing with the vaping? Can that happen? Can that affect you as harsh as the cigarettes?
Yeah, so the data still isn't completely out about that. What we do know is for young people that are vaping, there is, it's EVALI, and it's also known as popcorn lung. They develop this respiratory disease, and some have been hospitalized, and a few have unfortunately died because of it. But what you're talking about with cigarettes is we have secondhand smoke.
Right.
So that would be like someone in your house or in a room is smoking around you, right? And then you're being affected by the smoke that's in the air. And we know that that smoke, that secondhand smoke, is worse for the non-smoker than the smoker, because typically the smoker has a filter and some of it is being filtered out. Not all of it, but some of it's being filtered out. So for those that are in the vicinity, they're taking this unfiltered. There's also third-hand smoke, which I'll tell you this really brief story, but my husband and I, we ended up with this dog very early in our marriage, and the dog was fine, a black lab Rottweiler mix, and we lived in a home in Warwick, but my in-laws were selling their house and it was my husband's childhood home. So I wanted to come and I wanted us to buy the house that he was born and raised in. So we moved into this house and all of a sudden our dog ended up with cancer in a digit of one of his toes. And I could never understand it. My husband never smoked, I never smoked, nobody ever smoked in our house. What I just recently learned is the third-hand smoke from my mother-in-law who was smoking and had been smoking for years. And my father-in-law had smoked but quit. But the toxins actually get into the fabrics. It gets into the walls, it's on the floor. And so just imagine our dog is just stirring up the toxins. And so, believe it or not, dogs can get cancer and it can be from third-hand smoke. I have a neighbor who's a smoker and he brings his dog out and smokes. He had a little dog. The dog had the same raspy voice that the smoker had.
Wow.
Believe it or not, when he barked
Yeah.
from being around that smoke. Yes.
So someone smokes, let's say if they smoke, right? And they quit, what are their chances of like reversing that effect, that negative, harmful effect in their body?
I have paperwork here, but it's a very short period of time before your body starts to heal itself. And, your lungs become healthy again. For a youth, though, I will say for a youth that begins to smoke, if there is damage in the development of the brain, it's not 100% that damage can be fixed. But your body, when you're smoking, your skin, your teeth, your lungs, begins to cleanse itself of it, and you do become healthier. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, and one more. You were talking about now they have flavored smoke. I know menthol, but now they're like fruity flavored.
Yes.
Do you think that's targeting the youth?
Yes, but I've been at some of the hearings, and some of the adults, especially the retailers that own these shops, and this is their livelihood, are like, oh, but vaping specifically, they'll say is harm reduction. And what we're finding is that big tobacco is starting to take that terminology and use it, harm reduction, and they'll say, we're striving for a tobacco-free nation or a tobacco-free world. But really what they want to do is replace it with the vape, which, again, we don't have all the data yet, but we are starting to see data that it is not healthy to be.
I've seen people in cars vaping, and it seems as there's more smoke coming out of that than a cigarette. So does that increase the risk from those that may be around, not just the person that's vaping, but those that are in that area?
Yeah, so the vape pens or mods, they're called, some of them can be smokeless. Some of them have that huge plume, like it's worse than like a cigarette, right? But then there's some that nothing comes out. So, and of a matter of fact, there's something that parents can look up. It's called Hidden in Plain Sight. And it's a simulation of a child's bedroom, and it shows how easily a child could have a vaping device and a parent wouldn't know. just as a teacher might not know. They could literally be sitting in front of you vaping and you wouldn't know because there's no smoke, right? But you will all of a sudden smell this minty, this flavor. You'll smell it, right? So like they have again to answer your question, the industry is targeting our young people because they say, oh no. We're doing it to give the adults a choice. So because adults like the flavors too, but they package it to look like candies.
Mhm.
It could look like Skittles or Sour Patch Kids. They have vaping devices that look like stuffed animals.
Oh, wow.
They have put the pen inside of hoodies. So it just looks like a child is just like chewing on the end of a hoodie. They have ones that look like highlighters. What does an adult like?
Yeah.
Right.
That's not for an adult,
No.
right? Toys and things.
Can I ask you one more thing? Hookah, is that like the same? What is that like nicotine too or?
So hookah is water vapor, but again, if you add the nicotine to it, it has chemicals in it too that are not safe and healthy. You had a question.
Oh, no, that was the only question you answered it about of what was in the vapor.
Yeah,
You know, could it cause cancer, but no one knows yet, right? It messes with the brain, but you don't know about causing cancer to people around it, people that vape, or the vapor themselves.
there's so many chemicals in there. And there's a coalition in, I think it's in Warwick, that actually does a display of what's in vapes. And will absolutely blow your mind. Like they have motor oil, they'll have formaldehyde. There's so like things that you would never put in your body. But when you see it displayed, it's like regular household items that you would have locked in your closet because it would be considered poison, right? Remember when your children were younger, you'd lock the cabinet or you put things up high so they couldn't get to it. And these everyday products are in these vape devices.
So can we talk about the preventions that you have, the prevention resources?
Yeah, so what we have is Quit RI, quitnowri.com. We also have My Life, My Quit. And the difference is quitnowri.com is for adults. So you'll call that number, there'll be somebody at the other end of the phone. They'll ask you a few questions, you answer the questions. And the reason why they're asking you those questions is so that they can streamline you to exactly what you need. So if you are a menthol smoker, they'll make sure that you get specific help around menthol. And then My Life, My Quit is for our youth. And that is a text-based quit resource because we know our youth like to text.
Mhm.
So they text and they're able to communicate with somebody on the other end and they can receive support. So when they feel like they need to vape, they can actually text someone and say, I really want to vape right now. And that person will respond to them and support them and help them to go beyond that sensation and to help them quit. Rhode Island is offering this quitnowri.com. You call, you can be eligible to receive a patch, the lozenge, gum, whatever medication that is evidence-based. So I'll say that because they're not gonna give you a vape, they're not gonna give you a vape pen, because that hasn't been proven. Actually, what's been proven is people switch and oftentimes will go back to cigarettes. So, but they'll give you a lozenge, they'll give you a patch, something like that. Plus you'll have counseling sessions, you'll have a number of phone calls that you can call to bring you to a full quit.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Thanks so very much. And so when we talk about lung cancer, and so when we start the screening, start promoting screening, when we talk within our families, we know the smokers are obvious, but the reality is that the screening still should happen. And so thank you so very much for enlightening us. And so we begin to recognize that where there once was the cigarette smoking, now the vape is the new thing, so to speak. And as if my history is correct, they didn't have much stats with folks who smoking cigarettes. It took years, and now we're back to the space with vaping, and unfortunately, fatalities that will dictate the effects of vaping. And so, I know they have a problem with kids in high school vaping.
Oh, yes, that's a big problem.
So we're entering a new phase. And we also have United Healthcare that's with us today, and I will allow them to come and share how they can be of assistance in regards to as we look at this particular initiative with community conversations, with screening, and also, most importantly, primary care physicians and how they can be of assistance. Stick it.
So since we're talking about lung cancer and cancer, death, I know that, United Health does offer smoking cessation. So if folks are smoking and they like to quit, most health insurance plans do offer that. So if you don't know where to go, you can call on the back of your card. There's a 1-800 number. You can also reach out to myself. I'm Panita Pivale. I will try to put it in the chat, or maybe Pastor Pam can help me put it in the chat. But you can reach out to me as well, and we can assist you. I know through these community conversations, I have the pleasure, I'm always learning it myself, and I'm not an expert in lung cancer or cancer death, but I do learn a lot when I'm out here and from different, guest speakers and doctors that spoke. So I know the last community conversations we were at St. Elizabeth Home Senior Center. Was it Senior Center or home? And there was an expert that talked about, Renee was with us too, and she was talking about lung cancer. And I did not know that lung cancer is the leading cause of death in the US, which was shocking to me. There's 1.8, I think she said, 1.8 million individuals that die of lung cancer, and that increases, which is very alarming. And what you said, if you take care of and you quit smoking, you can reverse that effect. My father was a smoker for many, many years, and he went cold turkey, and I don't even know how he did it, which was amazing. He started smoking at the age of, I think, 14 or 15, and he stopped at the age of 40-something, right after my son was born. So my son was born back in 2000, and he quit. He said, you know what, I'm gonna stop smoking. And he's never smoked again. So, it can be done, it's hard. But, I worried myself because secondhand smoking, I didn't realize that growing up, right? That there's secondhand smoking. And also when Brandon was born, my son, he's probably like, here's another generation. I don't want to continue this, and I want to be here for my son. So he was able to do it. But culturally, any cultures, they do smoke, but it is possible. And I always learn different things. I'm always hearing about different things. This morning, I had the pleasure of being at a health fair talking to a survivor. And she came up to me and she was asking about community resources. She was a United Health member. And I said, oh, United Health, wonderful, let me talk to you. And she said, you know, I'm a cancer survivor, and I had all my information on cancer, right? And she was like amazed, and she said, oh, I'm a breast cancer survivor. I just got diagnosed with breast cancer. And I said, oh my gosh. And I told her about these community conversations. I said, do you have Facebook? And she goes, yes, I have Facebook. I said, well, you have to start following us through the Ministers Alliance. So I pulled it up and I showed her and I said, you know, I'm not going to pressure you, but if you'd like to come and talk, you know, we have a series of survivors. We have different topics. So she had breast cancer and she shared her story with me, which was very powerful. So here I am on the other end talking to her. And she saw all my materials. I think it was United Health that drew her because she had United Health. But she told me her story and she said, you know, my story was, and I said, what was your story? You know, can you share with me a little bit about your story? She said, well, I got diagnosed during COVID 2 years ago and it wasn't alone. I said, what happened? She goes, I was at my sister's house and went to the bathroom and I noticed my nipple was bleeding. It was bleeding. And I said, that's a sign. Because every time I come on, we always talk about lumps and I always say, you know your body best, right? You know when something's wrong. But it's always pay attention to your body. When there's something not right with your body, like her nipple, like I had talked about nipple inversion, she was bleeding from the nipple. And it turned out to be breast cancer. And she was able to seek treatment. So, you know, she is now going through treatment. She had a mastectomy, she had breast reconstruction. It, you know, was in the lymph node. But I mean, these are conversations that you have. You meet different people, you connect them to the Ministers Alliance. And she was very, very happy. She goes, oh, I know where Bethel Enemy Church is. And I said, well, you know, if you're not ready to come, you know, we have Zoom conversations too, you know, or you can come in person when you're ready. But, you know, you can see what we're all about. Please, you know, follow us. And, you know, that was my takeaway today. I think that's, you know, when you do the work, sometimes you meet different people, you meet different stories, you meet like, you know, things that you take back and you share, right? And every time I'm coming on, I learn something different, learned something different today.
Yes,
So I appreciate, you know, everything you do, and that's it.
thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you all very, very much. Miss, do you have anything you'd like to share?
Just I want to say thank you for hello everyone. Thank you for all the information you gave Tanya. I'll be in touch with you tomorrow if you're available. I had one question, but I was having trouble trying to get the volume thing going in my car, but now I'm sitting. But my dad has pancreatic cancer. And he also was dealing with some cancer in his mouth, and where he was like, his gums were like peeling. And I wanted to ask ask about that question. Like if it's, that was at the time when Tanya was speaking, if that is something that is common that we see.
Did you say gum?
You said gum or lung?
No, she said come.
Gum cancer and pancreatic.
Gums.
Yeah. So yes, gum cancer can be associated with smoking. Wow, there's all different types of cancers of the mouth that can happen. There's CDC currently has out some commercials. They're tips. They're called tips, and I think the young lady's name is Terry, and she talks about how she had to have surgery and removal, and you could see it, her whole jaw, because the smoking can unfortunately provide cancers of the gum, of the mouth, the throat, all different types of cancers. And then, I don't know, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a medical doctor, but I'm just thinking about how many times I've had like a sinus infection and those toxins then go down into your system as you swallow. And then the next thing you know, there's, something going on in another area of your digestive tract. So, but definitely that can be related to smoking, cigarettes, tobacco, nicotine. And, they have chewing tobacco now, so that's why we have a lot of mouth cancer. They have snus, which is nicotine. It's not tobacco, but it's nicotine, and it's still going in the mouth. They don't care about us. They don't care about us.
I
They're
see.
just trying to make a buck.
Well, I was thinking that maybe that would be a good thing. Thank you for answering that, because I was very like confused, but I was also thinking, would that be a good thing to bring up when we talk about cancer screenings, when we talk about different types of cancer screenings, gum cancer, like, because you spoke on smoking and vaping, and that's going to be found in a lot of young kids, and a lot of young teenagers. As they become adults, they're going to deal with a lot of dental problems.
That's so good.
So,
I think that is something that we should bring up. I know when I was younger, they didn't really, you got checked at school,
Right.
and rather,
Mhm.
once a year by the dentist. But I know recently they're really saying that dental health can kind of predict the rest of our health. So I think that's really important that we make sure that we're going to the dentist, that we're getting those screenings, because they will check for all of those types of diseases and illnesses. That's a really good point.
Yeah, I just went to the
thank
dentist.
you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just went to the dentist like for my 6 months, every 6 months for my cleaning, and I realized that I picked that up. The dental hygienist was like, "Open your mouth, let me check for cancer." I'm like, oh, like I think with these community conversations, I'm more aware now. I'm like, oh, okay, you're checking for me.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You're right. So they are checking now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you very much for the conversations. And as we all have said, the more we begin to talk, the more we begin to learn is, and cancer is not limited to a particular area.
No.
And so we must keep our eyes open in regards to how we are all impacted in some shape, form of cancer. Are there any additional questions? Hearing none, anything on Facebook?
Mm-mm.
So I'd like to thank everyone for sharing with us. Again, we have our next community conversation. We will not have anything for the week of the 4th of July.
Yeah.
But please check our website, the Ministers Alliance website, and we will be identifying our scheduling for the month of June, for the remaining month of June, so that you can stay informed. I'd like to thank our special guests for their sharing, and I'd like to thank those that have joined us as well. God bless. Thank you.
Interesting.
That's good.
Never thought about gum cancer. Never considered gum cancer.
Yeah. Marie, who's our colleague, she's a dental hygienist. So if you ever wanted someone to talk about
Have a good evening.
back